So we are reading Robert Monroe's The Far Journey. We are on chapter 9, page number 110 of the book and page number 61 of the PDF. So over here, what is happening is there was one prospect that he engaged in the last section. And,
Inspect.
and 1 second, Shivangla. So he had to, he had to keep revisiting the scene so that till he got it right. Okay, and then he moved on. So now this is another scene that is going to come up, which is important in the growth of Robert Monroe in connection with what he has been up to.
Click. I want to hear the music. I want to hear the special music. I know how to make the Victoria play the music because I learned how. I learned how just from watching. And then she watched me show her how I could play it. Then she said I could play it, but I had to be real careful so I don't break the records. So I'm not being bad if I play it. I pull the chair over close to the Victoria so I can stand on it and put the record in the top. I have to lift up the heavy lid, but I do it. I turn the shiny crank in the side more and more until it won't crank anymore. But I don't crank it after that because it might break the spring. Then I open the front doors of the Victrola, and there is my special music record on the first shelf, just where I left it. Pull the record out and be real careful to don't break it and put it up on top. Then I climb up on the chair. I pull the paper cover off the record and put the record on the wheel. Then I put the shiny fat arm part with the sharp needle in it down real careful on the edge of the black record. Now everything is ready. I move the little shiny finger and the wheel with the black record on it starts moving. And I hurry down off the chair to where the music is. The music starts coming out of the Victrola, and I feel real quiet. So I close my eyes. It is blank for a long time as I listen to the music. But then I feel a surge way down at the bottom of me, and it feels like tingling when my foot goes to sleep. But it doesn't hurt. It feels good, and with it, I hear raining, just like rain on the roof, but it comes and goes. And the music gets so soft I can't hear it anymore. Then it's quiet, and I can't hear or feel anything. There it is again, coming up from the bottom of me. More, the tingle and the rain surge, and it feels better than anything I ever felt. And I wait for it to happen again.
So now what is happening? He is experiencing something that he actually experienced, and it had started when he was pretty young, right? This surge, this feeling of going out into an expanded state of consciousness where your physical senses get turned down and your other senses start getting turned up, right? So he's hearing the rain like falling on the roof, but it's not there on the record. So he's hearing with his like clairvoyant ears, and he is also going into an altered state of consciousness.
Here it comes again, stronger and bigger, and it feels so good it starts to hurt. But I don't mind the hurt because it feels so good. Then it fades away again. I know it's coming back, and it does. Much, much stronger and bigger. Up through me, the best and happiest feeling I could ever have. So happy I want to cry. And the hurt is so strong, it's cutting me right up the middle in two pieces. Then it goes back again, down out the bottom of me, and I know that there is nothing, nothing nicer I will ever feel than just than what just was. No hurt could be more than what I just felt. And I feel it rising again, and I don't think I could stand it if it was any stronger. But there it is, getting bigger and stronger. The good, good tingle, and the rain roar, and the hurt so hard, coming right up to my head. Terrible, terrible sharp hurt. This is so good and so hurting, there can't ever be anything that feels so good and hurts so much. Never, never. Then it starts to go away, and I know that I will always remember this bright, bright good and the big, big hurt. And nothing will ever be as good or hurt so much. But there it comes again. No, no, I can't stand it again. I can't. I can't. The good makes me cry. It's so good. And the hurt makes me cry. It hurts so much. It can't be more than the one before. It was the biggest there is. It can't be any bigger. The good and the hurt. But it is. And I scream with joy and pain. And I know this is the greatest of all there is, the exquisite joy, beauty that transcends any thought or consciousness, that the pain is merely the anguish of physical structure attempting to contain energy beyond the ability to do so, that one day I will experience it again without the pain because I will understand better. One day it will take place, the great glory of I feel hands picking me up and I am crying a little, not too much, and I open my eyes and raise my head. The music in the Victrola has stopped, and she, my mother, is looking at me and saying something.
So again, in the last in the last section, it is very clear that he is very young. So his body is not prepared to handle the energy, right? And because of that, it feels painful. That's why the preparatory process in the workshop is extremely important because it prepares our system to be able to handle those expanded states of consciousness.
Click. Yes, yes. I remember what a great privilege I felt it was to have been given permission to play the Victrola, and I proudly never broke a single record. Symphonies, operas my mother liked, plus some saxophone jazz records the college student who roomed upstairs gave me, which I played when no one was listening but me. And I remember the same sequence when going under anesthesia before surgery, the identical pattern.
So now again, Shivangla, your mic. So now again, what happens is that when people go into anesthesia, they experience the same thing. And many times when people are going into anesthesia, they actually go out of their body. And there are many, many reports where people are actually looking down on their body and actually observing what the surgeon is doing. Right? Now, what is happening here with him is that he's actually trying to get out of the body, and now he's equating it with when he had anesthesia for surgery. It's the same feeling that he had.
The acceptance of pain as a condition of joy is the symbol of conflict within.
Shimangla, you're too soft now. You have to come nearer the mic.
The acceptance of pain as a condition of joy is the symbol of conflict within physical life existence. The pattern of the present is not consistent with the promise of the future as you perceive it within time space illusion. a conflict of realities from your aspect.
So Shivangla, you have to be louder, otherwise the recording is not going to happen. So again, this is a pattern, right? And he has to accept the pattern. Basically, that's it. So when he grows up, he's going to go out of his body much more.
I remember so well, if
Shivangla,
that is
you're too soft. Have you changed something in your setting?
is it okay now?
Yeah, it's better.
Is it okay?
It's okay. Start from the acceptance.
Please repeat what you said.
I said start from the acceptance.
The acceptance of pain as a condition of joy is the symbol of conflict within physical life existence. The pattern of the present is not consistent with the promise of the future as you perceive it within time space illusion, a conflict of realities from your aspect.
So this is important here. The acceptance of pain as a condition of joy. So pain can also be a joyful feeling. And actually, pain is extremely important. If we did not have pain, we would not really understand that there is something wrong. Right? So many people who have diabetes, they lose the feeling in their feet. If they have a cut, the blood will keep flowing and they won't even realize that the blood is flowing. So pain is a very, very important aspect of what we are. So we need to accept it as a condition of joy.
I remember so well, if that is the joy, I will take the pain again, if I can stand it. It is not necessary. Your present consciousness now has a beginning point of reference. It is possible for you to perceive the destination of the rays of pure energy you have called Lush, love, as it penetrates into your earth space in several segments of what you call time. We will assist you in your placement within the event. The delineation, the decision to distinguish must be yours solely. Are you ready to do this? I don't know positively what I will be looking for, but I will never forget again. If that is what I seek, I will find it.
So over here, Shivangla, you have to mute. So over here, what he's looking for, it's possible for you to perceive the destination of the rays of pure energy that you have called Lush or love. Now, in the book, as we go ahead, you will find that it is all about Lush. It is all about love. The energy that is generated or the material that gets generated because of the love emotion is what we are here for. That is what we are here to harvest. That is what we are here to assimilate. Okay, that is what the basis of this entire paragraph is, that we have to connect with Lush and we have to imbibe it within us. And also, other entities are here basically to collect the Lush, to collect the energy which is generated by the emotion of love.
Click. The sun is setting, and I am sitting alone in the sand outside our tent. The desert is cooling now, and soon it will be dark and it will become very cold. I have built a fire from camel dung so that we will be warm. Yes, I am Shola, and my woman and our two offspring, a boy and a girl, are in the tent behind me. We are dying. I can see the village in the distance, and the cooking fires are glowing in the twilight. We came with goods to trade, but they would not let us enter. They cast stones at us to keep us away. We could not go across the desert to another village because we had little water and we are ill. Now, after these many days, we have no water and no food. We have survived this far only by eating camel dung, something only a dog would. Our two camels will live and we will die. They cannot catch the illness, the plague that brings the open sores on our skin, which do not heal. I would kill the camels to eat, but they are old friends. We do not eat old friends to continue our own existence. It does not matter now. Food and water will not help. The illness is taking us along the course to death. There is nothing to be done. I do not want to crawl into the tent for fear they are gone. All of my family. I do not want to know I am alone. We have done so many things together, the pains and the joys we have shared, the working and being together, my woman and the young ones. No illness, no death can remove the bond that grew and blossomed among us.
So he is experiencing various experiences that he has already experienced. So he is re-experiencing them basically to learn lessons from each of those experiences. So the inspects are taking him through this process.
Click. I can still feel the echoes. It's a life I don't remember. If I lived it, but the sharing of purpose, of unity required for simple survival. Nothing more than that can bring it out. The attachment beyond husband, wife, and parenthood that I remember. Beyond physical manifestation, misinterpreted, misunderstood, and often overlooked. This is a facet of the prime expression. It is part of the learning process peculiar to the human experience.
So again, we need to really understand, right? So this non-verbal communication, what is communicated without saying, this is something that we all need to actually imbibe and understand.
This is the goal in being human, to learn to do or be this. Indirectly, that is correct. It is but part of a broad spectrum. One goal is to become the generator and transformer of such radiation. It is important that you perceive the scope and attunement of the recipient. The being on the desert was attuned and therefore was only the recipient, but neither transformer nor generator. The goal is generation and transformation only. Do you desire this pattern of perception to continue? If I have smoothed enough to do so, you have.
So
Click.
again, it's a matter of losh, okay, again, of love, that love energy. We need to be a recipient of that energy as well as a transmitter of that energy. And that is the energy which actually creates the transformation in us.
We are lying around the protective defense circle of the encampment. It is night. Our bellies are full and our feet hurt from the long march. The fallen leaves are dry and make a noise when we roll over. This would be bad if we were the outer guards, but we need not concern ourselves. The outer guards will sound the alarm if the enemy attacks by night. My helmet is close to my left hand, as is my shield. Near my right is my kuri, whose cold, sharp point and keen cutting edges have become as much a part of me as the arm that wields it. On one side of me is my friend Chetty, who snores so loudly in his sleep that he awakens the birds. On the other is my friend Dawn, who sleeps like death itself, yet is instantly awake at the whisper of his name. We are but a part of this great host who will, in the morrow, meet and cut our enemy to pieces. We are three. I recall well the day we met on the training ground many seasons past. Chetty, tall and stumbling from the high mountains, Dawn, solid as stone, from the great forest, and I from the flat midlands. Not a word was spoken amongst us for days as we learned the killing arts. How that changed with our first battle. That moment when we formed a triangle back to back, surrounded by twice our numbers of yellow hairs. Chetty calling out such stupid curses at the yellow hairs that even Dawn was laughing, and laughing gave us fresh energy. So we fought our way out of the trap. Then we were three. Through the battles, the wounds many of both, too many from such as me to count. We are three. There are more to me than my brother, whose face and voice I cannot now bring to mind, more than any woman I have ever known, yet not the same. And the man in that village who asked me about my sons and daughters, and I replied, I don't know my sons and daughters. If I have any, they go with a woman, and I have no woman. I am of the legion, so I have no woman or sons and daughters to whom I am bonded. Just those women I can bed down when we capture a town. There was one, she was warm and did not scream, but whispered in my ear, and I was as gentle as I could be with her. I might have bonded with her, but we are three, and it is different. I would lay down my life for Chetty or Dawn, and they would have lived instead of me. And I know without their speaking that it is the same with them. I do not understand why this is so, but they are me, I am them, and we are three.
So,
Click.
so again, it's the bond that is created. It's that love bond created between the three of these warriors.
Click. Yes, I have the percept. 300, 3,000, 3,000,000, 3 billion. It is the same. Common effort, willingly or not. Long association, repeated shared experience. This special bonding beyond self can take place without awareness of what it is or its importance. Often it can't be called love because local custom would then attach a physical, sexual inference to it, male or female, thus it is covered over and sublimated.
So, so now what is being said over here basically is that they are having repeated shared experiences. Okay. So they're coming back again and again, and there is a bond among the three of them which goes beyond normal sexual love. It is transcendental love that they are talking about.
You are learning rapidly. Your human perspective serves you well. Do you wish to move to the next point in your survey? I understand what is happening, the human portion, if it is still of that value. I am fine. We will continue then. Click. I am standing in front of a stone building with a tall spire. Wide steps lead down to the cobbled square, and the square is filled with a flow of people, horse drawn wagons and carts, and the dusty smell of human sweat, animals, cooking, and excrement from all manner of living things. I am a priest, and although it is hot, I am wearing my brown hooded robe that reaches to my ankles. It is cool inside the church, yet I am loath to enter. The ritual is about to begin, and I must attend and participate as part of the duties of my calling. I am sick in heart at what I must do. It is so different from that which I dreamed those years ago, my life in the service of the Almighty. the glory of the tolling bell in the spire, the rich voices of the choir, echoing throughout the arched roof in holy harmony, the majesty and mystery of the processional, the bowed heads of the reverent, kneeling people, they are the same. These are the parts that brought open the rising need in me, and I answered. Now they are the same, but I am not. Where is the need? It has left, unfulfilled. Where is the mystery? It has vanished under the weight of the unfolding years, and that which my eyes have seen and my ears have heard. The bell begins its tolling, and that is the signal that I must enter and join the others. I turn and pass through the smaller door to one side and into the great hall. I move slowly down the main aisle to the waiting group at the altar. The high priest stands in front of the altar, wearing his white robe with the golden braided symbols across the front. On his head is the holy crescent moon. Behind him are the seven keepers of the realm, each holding a staff atop, which is one of the seven sacred stars, lighted by a flaming taper. As I approach the altar, I know what I will see upon it, and I am correct. A young girl, attired in a flowing gown of bright red to hide the blood, is lying upon its stone surface. Silken cords are attached to her ankles and wrists, then to large rings on the sides of the altar. I know well the ritual, although I have never performed it. Once I have completed the sacred act in the name of the Almighty, I will transcend that status of a lowly priest and become an alternate keeper of the realm. When one of the seven dies and departs from Shimon, the land of eternal joy and the throne of the Almighty, I will become one of the seven. When the high priest demands, one of the seven will take his place and assume his power and glory as the direct communicant with the Almighty. Perhaps I may be that one, but now I am not sure. The dream of years past flickers within me, and it is not this. If I do not perform the ritual, I will be stripped of my robe, cast out into the street, where I will be stoned to death by the populace. I move next to the altar, and the high priest hands me the ritual blade, a slender, sharply pointed knife with a carved silver handle. I have been instructed carefully where to insert the ritual knife at various spots on her body so as to keep her from causing her death immediately, but to engender exquisite ecstasy within her while the high priest and the seven give their blessings. I raise the blade for the first swift insertion, and I stopped, arm upraised. I am looking into the eyes of the girl. In them are fear, puzzlement, resignation, and beyond these, a knowing, a depth that carries me past the distortion of my dream and into what I was sure was always there. I lower my arm, turn, and drop the silver knife, only a knife in front of the fat man who calls himself a high priest. I cannot do it. No, I will not do it. And I am free. And a bright white ray comes through the ceiling of the great hall and centers on me, flashes through my entire being. The silver knife melts into a mound of metal. The silk cords drop from the girl, and the altar trembles and splits open as the girl rises from it and stands. The men in the robes kneel transfixed, their eyes staring into blindness at the brilliant white ray. Click.
So divine grace.
Click. Yes, and somewhere in man's history, a legend is born. The event is only a dim memory to me, if even that, but the emotion I felt, I experienced, that is clear and strong.
So, so this is important here, that many times, an event takes place. Now, when an event takes place, what actually remains with us is the emotion, the feeling that we had during that particular event. If there is no emotion attached to the event, you will tend not to remember the event. Okay. So the emotional attachment with an event becomes extremely important. Now, if you're whoever has done the excursion workshop, in the workshop there is a exercise called the release and recharge. In that you release the fear, and the next thing that you release is the emotion which is attached to that fear, because any fear will have an emotion attached, any joyful event will have an emotion attached. So he's very clearly saying here that, but the emotion I felt and experienced, that was very, very clear and strong.
What you call emotion is essential to the basic learning process. It is a specific observable result of exposure to the louche love radiation. Therefore, it is the driving force, the creative energy which motivates human thought and action. Without it, you would remain as animals.
So So what distinguishes us from the animals is basically the emotions. Now, when you look at your brain, we've got three areas of our brain. The first brain is the reptilian brain, okay, which is basically only survival. It only protects itself. The next is the mammalian brain, where the nurturing and the emotion deals with the mammalian brain. Okay. And then you have the neocortex or the cortex, which is what distinguishes us from the animals also. But we can perceive and act on our emotions. That is what actually distinguishes us really, really clearly, right? So over here he says that love, louche radiation, is the driving force, the creative energy which motivates all human thoughts and action. So it is actually emotion which is motivating us and driving us. So even when you're looking at karma, karma is caused by the emotion attached to the action. If there is no emotion attached to the action, then it only remains an action and it causes no karma, right? So what Krishna Bhagavan also said, that you do the act and leave all the fruits and the benefits and the pitfalls to me, so you don't attach any emotion to your action, then there is no problem. Okay, so over here he very clearly says that it is emotion which actually drives us.
But animals show something it is very close to what I know of as emotion. What you perceive is a reflection, a response to human radiation of such energy, which has been self generated or transformed by the human. We will demonstrate this for you if you wish. That would be great. I would enjoy that very much. We shall see, as you put it. Click.
So an- animals are actually responding to the radiations that we are transmuting.
Click. Our little dog with the funny name Steamboat. He is walking with me along the road in early morning. He is such a friend. His bright gladness at seeing me. He actually grins when he wants you to know what a nice guy he is. Just because that's what his human close by God does. His seeming need to be with you, enthusiastically do what you want to do. Just a word from me, and he comes running to me joyfully. It's much more than the fact that I feed him. Most of what we do has no relationship to such. We have a bond that might be called friendship. He succeeded in making friends with his God, doing things together, That's pretty good stuff. Making friends with your God. Now he has been diverted into the wooded bank alongside the road, eagerly seeking an ever elusive rabbit. But after a short search, he will return, bounding across the road to walk just in front of me again. Then I hear a vehicle, a car or truck, approaching behind the blind curve, and I call to Steamboat to come to me, stand and be where it is safe. It is a truck, and it comes around the curve quickly, too quickly. Just 10 feet away from passing me, Steamboat leaps down the bank from the woods and directly under the wheel of the truck. There is a rending scream as the wheels grind over the lower half of his body, flattening it completely. The truck moves away and stops, and the driver gets down from his cab, sadly apologetic. I get to where Steamboat is, still trying to come to me, his front legs trying to drag the crushed half across the road to where I am. I sit down on the road in front of him, and he stops trying to move as I reach out and rub his head, tears forming in my eyes as minuscule evidence of the deep sorrow within me. Through my hand, I feel the heavy tremors moving through his body from the pain, and he licks my hand and looks up at me, asking, hoping his God will take care of the pain. I look at his body, the damage so irreparable. There is no hope. He licks my hand again, and I accept the responsibility. I get up and move to the waiting truck driver, removing my pullover shirt as I go. A look passes between us, and he knows that I do not blame him, that he should harbor no guilt. Sadness shared, yes, but no guilt. I was responsible, not he. I move to the truck, remove the cap from the gas tank, and push the shirt into the tank, soaking it with fluid. Then I remove the dripping cloth and move back to Steamboat, who was watched me expectantly, too weak to do more. I sit down and his head drops into my lap, eyes looking up to me, asking. Gently, I move the cloth over his nose with one hand and place the other on his head. His eyes look at me deeply, and the tremors in his neck subside slowly and are gone. I see and know the closeness we share is eternal, and he somehow knows this too. The conscious awareness in his eyes dim and is gone, and they are only eyes with my tears in them. Click. But that didn't happen. Steamboat is alive. He is back where I came from, somewhere near my physical body. That is correct. The event occurred earlier in this physical life, a different animal, dog, as you call them. You identified it as your present attachment. In the earlier episode, uncontrolled emotion overwhelmed you and you were helpless. You did nothing to fulfill your responsibility. In your present state of awareness, you exercise the control that is so important, which displays your growing ability even in our synthesized demonstration.
So, so what so what is shown over here, that in that expanded state, it is like reality is being played out, and how you act, so it's a stimulation, right? And how you act can show your maturity. So this was not the actual event which took place, but he acted out of maturity in this particular event. So these guys are actually happy with the way that he handled the situation in the demo.
The paradox attached to such vital energy emotion, as you call it, is the opportunity for growth it provides and the simultaneous possibility of stasis and retrogression. Control and direction thereof thus becomes the prime purpose in the evolving human experience. Understanding and comprehension is the resultant and flows without effort. At no point is the goal to repress or suppress such energy. Instead, it is enhanced when directed and focused into the channels for which it was originally designed. What you call your curiosity is perhaps the most unrecognized and undistorted form of such energy. Yet, it is the underlying force that produces what humans consider their most outstanding historical achievement.
So basically, what are we here for? We are here to learn lessons, to understand what is happening, to grow, to able to be deal maturely and with a higher state of consciousness with what is occurring. Okay, this is the gist of what is happening, and this is the actual gist of why we are all here. We are all here in a classroom to experience things and then to be able to handle them in the way that they need to be handled. That is where maturity and expanded awareness comes into being.
This is coming too high and fast. I'll have to put this particular rote away and run it later. Do you wish to participate in your final demonstration? As it is the last one, I assume it is the most stringent. If I could just remember it is only a demonstration, as they call it. Seems more like a test, but if I could remember, it wouldn't be a test. There's something similar here to all of human physical experience. This not remembering business and the importance of it. The final test. Yes. Click. I'm sitting alone in the house and it is quiet. Even our furry friends seem subdued. Both dog and cat lie half asleep in the front hall, facing the door, waiting. The sun has just set and twilight is moving in. Soon it will be dark, and I can sit in the dark and see the house full of things, things she selected and liked so much, things she made do with until there was better, things her grandmother used, things she placed or hung in each room or put in closets and drawers where only she knew where they were, all an expression of her and bearing her reflection. But she is gone. She is not here as I expected. I don't need light to see the things, to remind me she was here. The sight of them does not disturb me, and I would not change or remove them because they have her strong imprint. I can find her in the dark or in the light. It makes no difference. She taught me so much without knowing she did. The very female human response to moments large and little, uncovered, uncolored, except by her own perspective. All of these she shared with me, so that I lead not one but three lives, hers, mine, and our meld. And she helped me learn release from one of the most difficult of all, that physical sexual drive is not the fundamental of this energy. I don't know what else to call but love, but one of the most common inducements to kindle the process. Once the full flame is created, the inducement is not even the fuel that feeds it, but instead a multi leveled minor physical note in an infinite chord. I now understand a mother and physical motherhood without being one. Why a woman likes to be a wife and the aspects of all, the idealistic and the realistic. That women such liking, a lifetime of human gamut in a fraction thereof, the whither thou goest, I go, is more than true. Yet a release from this part is needed and accepted. She goes with me and I go with her. Aloneness is an illusion, here or there. The flame is eternal, and we carry within us that which we have received and created. She is returning now as I knew she would, and we will not exchange goodbyes or forwarding addresses. Our idents in one another are indelible. Just one final moment in this point of time.
So, so, so what are we looking at here? Very clearly, he has said here that the sexual love which is there is transcendental. It is very, very temporary. The real love is that inner connection. And if you see over a period of time, when that inner love sustains, you'll see these old couples, they are really, just they become literally like one another. They start looking like one another. They know what the other is thinking without thinking. They do things for the other without the other actually asking for it, right? That merging is what they are talking about here. That is that actual love, that togetherness, that ये जो बोलते हैं 7 जन्म तक अपने साथ रहेंगे. This is the love that he is really talking about here. It is not the sexual love.
Click. Your perception was quite clear, Ashanine. The demonstration was successful.
So over here now he is calling him by this name, Ashanine, right? So that means Robert Monroe's name in that expanded state is Ashanine. He is known as Ashanine.
It was very strange. One of us had released from the physical, and I thought she was the one. Then, as it developed, I momentarily became unsure. It could have been I, and I finally realized it didn't make any difference which of us. The result was the same. Now, of course, I don't have to ask if it has happened, but I know it will one day and in our serial time.
Okay, just so what we are clearly saying here is that he is the one who has transcended. Mane, he is left and she is not left, but he is experiencing it as if that she has left and he is not left. And he realizes that it really doesn't matter who has left and who has not left, but that inner connection is what keeps them connected.
That is correct. The result is the same. We now believe you are prepared to visit us, where we are, you, as you call it, if that is still your desire. It will not be a demonstration but our reality. However, we will guide you and return you to this point. It is important that you understand that such a visit, momentary as it may seem, can produce within you changes that are irrevocable.
So as as soon as we experience something, it is bound to change us. Okay, so they are telling him very clearly that when you experience our realm, you're going to be changed whether you like it or not. Are you still willing to do it? So this is what we keep telling people also. We have found that when people attend the excursion workshop, then they attend the gateway voyage, when they attend any of the advanced programs, it really changes them from inside. Whether they like it or not, there's a shift which takes place. And it's very, very subtle, right? But there is a shift, whether we like it or not.
I do desire it and I accept the responsibility for any changes that may occur in me. Open widely, have fun as you put it. Click. I am in a bright white tunnel and moving rapidly. No, it is not a tunnel, but a tube, a transparent radiating tube. I am bathed in the radiation which courses through all of me, and the intensity and recognition of it envelop my consciousness, and I laugh with great joy. Something has changed because the last time they had to shield me from the random vibration of it. Now I can tolerate it easily. The actual energy itself, the radiation flow is two directional in the tube. The flow moving past me in the direction from which I came is smooth, even, and undiluted. The flow that I am is moving in the opposite direction and appears much different. It is organized in a more complex form. It is the same as the wave moving past me, but it contains a multitude of small waves impressed upon the basic. I am both the basic and the small waveforms, moving back to the source. The movement is steady and unhurried, impelled by a desire. I know but cannot express. I vibrate with joyous ecstasy just by the knowing.
So, so everything becomes a wave, and the main wave is the carrier frequency, and the smaller waves are the essences or the nuances which are there being carried by that carrier frequency, right? So everything becomes a wave at the end of it. So everything just becomes a frequency ultimately, but that frequency has a joy in it. Again, over here, he talks about it. I'm in a bright tunnel. No, I'm in a transparent radiating tube. So many times we've talked about this before. Whenever tubes come, tunnels come, staircases, doors, these are taking us into other states of consciousness.
The tube seems to become larger as another joins it from one side, and another waveform melds into me, and we become one. I recognize the other immediately, as it does me, and there is the great excitement of reunion. This other and I. How could I have forgotten this? We move along together, happily exploring the adventures, experience, and knowledge of the other. The tube widens again, and another one joins us, and the process repeats itself. Our waveforms are remarkably identical, and our pattern grows stronger as they move in phase. There are variegations in each which, when combined with another related anomaly, create a new and important modification of the total that we are.
Now, this paragraph is very, very important. Okay. Now we talked about Brahman, right? Now, Brahman wanted to experience something. So it created curiosity, curiosity one. Now, curiosity one created 100 curiosity 1As, right? Curiosity two created another group. Curiosity three created another group. Now, what he's saying here is these eyes are joining. So that means these curiosity A's, which were multiply created, they are joining into the flow and going towards the main fulcrum. Now, over here, what is happening? All these curiosities, these small guys, have experienced different things. So when they come together, they grow as a toto because each one of them is sharing their experiences with each other. So he says over here very clearly, our waveforms are remarkably identical, and our pattern grows stronger as they move into phase. So as they are learning from each other, the pattern is becoming stronger and stronger.
The tube expands again, and I am no longer concerned with its walls as I still another I enters the waveform flow. This is particularly exciting as it is the first I perceive as returning from a completely non-human sojourn. Yet, the intermesh was near perfect and we became so much more. Now we know that, somewhere, a consciously controlled physical tail, much like a monkey, is useful in ways far more than balance and acting as a third hand for holding things. It can be a very efficient means of communication, far beyond a super sign language, just as eloquent as the spoken word.
So this is exactly what I was saying, that they are learning from the other eyes which are joining into the group. And as they learn, their entire conscious awareness also starts to expand and grow.
Steadily and surely, one eye after another joins us. With each, we become more aware and remember more of the total. How many does not seem important. Our knowledge and ability is so great that we do not bother to contemplate. It is not important. We are one. With this, we divert from the underlying waveform and move away from it. We watch motionless in unified respect as the action of it continues away from us into an infinity. We also perceive easily the smooth originating wave coming from such infinity and dissolving into the pattern from whence we came.
So now, Shivangla, please mute.
You mute me.
So now what happens, right? Now that wave is coming, now they have been able to separate from it and then observe the form. So something is going towards the source and something is coming back to away from the source and coming from where they came, right? So intelligent consciousness is coming back to experience, and what has been experienced is going back to the source. So it's a two-way street which is happening over here.
Should we stop today?
Please continue.
Flowing through all of us is a coherent energy that is our creation, that displays immensely the reality of the
Where are
whole.
you reading from?
122.
121 में है अभी अपने.
वो तो खत्म हो गया.
नहीं. अच्छा, okay, sorry.
Flowing through all of us is a coherent energy that is our creation, that displays immensely the reality of the whole as far greater than the sum of the parts. Our ability and knowledge seem without limit. Yet we know at this point such is valid only within the energy systems of our experience. We can create time as we wish, or the need arises, reshaping and modifying within the percept itself. We can create matter from the other energy patterns or change the structure thereof to any degree desired, including reversion to original form. We can create, enhance, alter, modulate, or eradicate any percept within the energy fields of our experience. We can transform any such energy fields one into another or others except for that which we are. We cannot create or comprehend our prime energy until we are complete.
So, so the last line, right? We cannot create or comprehend our prime energy until we are complete. So until all the eyes which have come out of that one single eye, they merge together, you cannot comprehend the whole. But the summing of the parts is always of greater value and has more information and knowledge than the sum of the parts, because they build on each other. Also, we can create anything and we can perceive anything. It all depends on what is it that we want to do. So in the expanded state of consciousness, literally speaking, we are all powerful. This is what this paragraph talks about.
We can create physical patterns such as your sun and solar system, yet we do not. It has been done. We can adjust the environments of your planet, Earth, yet we do not. It is not our design. We can and do monitor, supplement, and enhance the flow of the human learning experience, as well as other learning experiences of similar content throughout time space. This we perform continuously at all levels of human awareness so as to prepare properly those in training units of our prime energy for the entry and meld into the totality that we are becoming. It is the sense of our growth to do so. Such assistance and preparation is forthcoming from us only by request from one or more levels of consciousness within the entraining unit. Thereafter, a bonding is in effect, through which many forms of communication pass between us until the ultimate transformation occurs. We
So now it becomes extremely important over here, right? We such assistance and preparation is forthcoming from us only by request from one or more levels of consciousness within this entraining unit. So when we want help, we have to ask for it, which is again the third part of the gateway affirmation, where we are looking for assistance. We are calling out and asking for assistance from those intelligences which are equal to us or greater than us, so that they can help us to grow. Now clearly he's saying over here that we are moderating, we are helping the people who are on earth to learn and to grow. But again, I'm repeating, you have to ask for assistance. If you don't ask for it, they will watch and allow you to do what you want to do. They are infinitely compassionate. So unless you ask for support and help, you're not going to get it.
know who we are, and one I laughs, and we all laugh at the name this I had given us. We are an inspec, just one. There are many others around us. You are still incomplete. There are parts of you yet to be transformed, including that visiting portion so filled with curiosity. Each of us is incomplete. That is why we remain at this point to reach back and gather additional and remaining parts of us until we are complete. Our
So,
curiosity.
so this becomes very important over here, right? So until we are complete, we cannot go to the ultimate. And we are constantly waiting to integrate more parts of ourselves which have gone out to experience stuff. And when all parts of us come back with all those experiences, we will become near complete, or we will become complete, and then we can go and merge with the ultimate.
You are still incomplete. There are parts of you yet to be transformed, including that visiting portion so filled with curiosity. Each of us is incomplete. That is why we remain at this point to reach back and gather additional and remaining parts of us until we are complete. Our curiosity desires the effect of completion. We move into the creative return flow again, the waveform that brought you here. When we do so, we leave this reality. Can this be demonstrated? It is not possible. It is not within our knowledge to do so. When you have transformed and melded totally into your whole, you will comprehend. That is why this point came into being. It is not possible to continue until completion.
So basically, what is that? That is that barrier that was being felt. Now, until you are complete or you have that knowledge to be able to transcend that, you will be remaining within the barrier.
Continue to what destination? We believe it to be the source of the radiation, the creative emission and return. Communication is closed with those who have continued. The desire to continue occurs upon completion. It is more than your curiosity, as you call it, and difficult to transmit in a form we can understand. There have been attempts by those completed who are to continue without success.
So once you transcend, right, then naturally you are away. It's like you've moved away from the signal, so the receiver cannot receive your signal anymore. You've gone too far away.
The ultimate home? A good beginning concept, a design which unfolds as perception grows. It is necessary now that you terminate your visit and return. We will be with you, our curious eye. Return where? Your physical environs. Where is that? In human, your physical body. Oh, yes, I had forgotten. Do I have to go back? Reach for us, and we will be with you in many ways. You have much to do. Go, get them, tiger, and a rote, as you call it, to play with. Click. The return to the physical was near instantaneous. My face and eyes were wet. I sat up in the chair and remembered. I reached for the yellow pad and pen to get the rote into words immediately. I knew I had changed. For the rest of my physical life, I would remember, but this would never change. For those who would die, there is life. For those who would dream, there is reality. For those who would hope, there is knowledge. For those who would grow, there is eternity.
So extremely powerful in the sense that this is literally told us where are we coming from and where we are going. Okay, anyone anything to say? Anaga, you have your hand up.
So I have a question, as in,
Yeah.
you came from that one big Brahman, and
I
then
mean,
we
I'm saying that, but over here he clearly says that that is beyond our percept. It is beyond our understanding. So we are not going to be able to perceive that because it's beyond our conscious ability to perceive it. If you get what
how
I
about
mean.
the no, my question is, why do we have to go through this journey of
The
coming to
learning,
physical life?
it's a learning experience. So the
Like,
story
why do
goes,
we need to learn if we were perfect when we were born? Like the soul was created, we
the
were
point
perfect.
here is
Then
of learning, of growing. So Bruce Moen tells it very nicely in his book. He says that if you know everything, you can't experience anything, right? So there was one. Now that one could not experience anything. So the one to experience something created curiosity. Now that curiosity, he went out and started to experience, and he found there's too much to experience. So he created multiple curiosities, and that's that I that there was being talked about in this thing, where you are going into in and merging into one another. Okay. So basically the idea is that we come here to learn, to experience, and then take back our experience into that I, into that total I.
But if we were perfect, then why the learning? Like
We are
when
not
we were
perfect,
first,
right? If you know everything, you don't know anything.
okay. So we learn more and then we
We learn
become
more and
one.
we experience more, and in that method we grow. So in the last line, what does he say over here? Okay, for those who grow, there is eternity. Can you see the last line?
Yeah. So those who grow, they don't
Those
come
who
back.
grow, there is eternity. There is no end to growth. So for example, we are talking about focus 10 and focus 21 over here. There's that one book, she talks about focus 253. Now, who is to
Okay.
say that there's not no focus level 500?
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else, anything before we wrap up? Nothing. I think this has stunned everyone. Can I have some faces at least?
That's quite powerful.
Yeah, this stuff. And see, see, the difference is that, when we talk about it in our scriptures, it is someone very far from us who has written it, right? Now we know this guy existed. We know he created a system. He's much closer to us. So this, what he is writing about, is something that we can all experience for ourselves. Okay. And that's, I think, what makes it more powerful.
True. On one level, it is more relatable, though still very far away.
Yeah, but then it's still nearer than what it was, right? Our scriptures talk about the same thing, but they talk about, like, it's gone. You have to have that moksha and this and that, which is unattainable. You have to have so many lives. But this guy's done it in this life, right? So why can't we? That's the basic game.
So how did he do it in this life? Did he?
I think you have to go into an altered state, Anaga, and ask him.
All his very lifetimes led up to this.
And the beauty of it is that he's given us the tools. He's given us the tools to be able to do what he's done. That's the beauty of the entire Monroe process.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, anything else, anyone? Otherwise, we'll wrap up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Stop the recording.
Ram Ram.
Thank you, everyone.